Hi guys, today I want to talk about the bewitching hour. Now, the dreaded bewitching hour you may have heard of. And basically it's towards the end of the day, at like 7, 8, 9 p.m. at night, when your newborn baby will start to cry a lot for no reason that you can think of. Now, this normally sets in around 8 weeks if it's going to happen, but then is normally gone by about 12 weeks. Now today I want to talk about what this is, why it might happen, and what you can do about it. First of all, it's important to establish that the bewitching hour is not the same as your baby having colic. It's called the bewitching hour because it normally only lasts for about an hour. Now if your baby has colic, they're crying for more than 3 hours a day for more than 3 days of the week. And that's something different, and you should talk to your pediatrician about it. If you want to learn more about colic or think your baby may have it, check out my video on colic. Now, if they're only crying for about an hour, I say only, an hour feels like eternity when it's happening to you, but if it's only for an hour, it is probably the bewitching hour. Now, nobody knows for sure why it happens, but there are some theories. Now, the first theory is that your baby is around 8 weeks old by the time this starts to happen, sometimes as early as 6. And this is when your baby really starts to consume a significant amount of milk every day, probably around 24 to 32 ounces. And when your baby does this, it can be a lot on their immature digestive system. So by the end of the day, when they've had a lot of milk, their digestive system can be really trying to deal with it all. It can be a lot to handle, and they can get very uncomfortable. The second thing that people believe is that around this time, your baby tends to want to cluster feed in the evening and consume a lot of milk right before bedtime. Now, the good thing about this is it allows them to sleep longer during the night and starts to give you more of a rest. But the bad thing about it is it's a lot for the baby's belly to handle, and again, they can get uncomfortable, and this can cause them the discomfort that causes the crying. The good news about these theories is it means that your baby is maturing, and your baby is also trying to start to sleep longer at night. So what do you do about it? What you need to do about it is help your baby work through it. So after your baby's had their last feed and then starts to want to cluster feed during this distress period, let them feed more, but try not to feed them too much. So feed them about 1 to 2 ounces at a time so they don't get overfull and then spit up a lot and get even more uncomfortable. Now after you've fed them, burp them, make sure to get the wind up, and then have them in a soothing and comforting position. And that normally involves having the baby's belly against your chest, but you'll know what your baby likes best. Now through this time, your baby is probably going to be crying in spurts. They'll probably stop crying for a little bit while you feed them, start crying again, stop crying a little bit while you're burping them, start crying again, stop crying a little bit while you're soothing them, and then start crying again. As you're going through this, you're going to keep cycling through these stages, the feeding, the burping, and the soothing. And you're going to do it over and over again, and eventually, somewhere in that hour, your baby will fall asleep. Now this can be a lot for a person to handle, and if you're getting very stressed and upset, it's not going to make it easier for your baby to calm down. So you might want to hand your baby off to your partner or somebody else to help, just for a couple rounds to give you a break. And it's also really important to remember when you're going through this, that it will not last forever. It really will go away simply overnight, probably around 12 weeks. I want to talk a little bit about the soothing part of the cycle. A lot of people just tell you to soothe your baby, but what does that really mean? The thing about soothing is the different techniques you can use are really specific for your baby. Every baby is different, and sometimes you have to do a whole pile of different techniques through that hour to actually make them calm down. You know, for me, with my 4 children, each one liked something a little bit different. One of them hated it if I sat down during that period, so I always had to stand. Another hated it if I rocked them. I always had to bounce. Others really liked me singing. Some just liked the quiet or breathing on my chest. And one of my kids would only calm down if I put Twinkle Twinkle Little Star on my iPhone and hold it right next to her ear. So there's so many different ways to soothe, and you got to get creative, and you have to stay calm, and you have to figure out what works for your baby. Now there are other ways I've heard. Some people go for a drive. Some people put the baby into a stroller. Other people put the baby in a car seat on the washing machine so it vibrates a little bit. There are so many creative ways. The point is you want to try and soothe and distract your baby so that they stop crying. I don't want to minimize how hard the bewitching hour is on a parent and of course on the baby too. I've gone through it every single time with all 4 of my kids, and every time it reduces me to tears, and I don't really think it's ever going to end. But what I want to tell you is it will pass. You'll probably forget about it after it passes. And you have to remain calm. If you don't think you can remain calm and you're getting angry, it's really okay and it's the right thing to do to give your baby to somebody else during that hour to help you. And always make sure if you are asking somebody for help that you can trust that that person won't get angry either and can remain calm during that really hard hour. So you're going to get through it, but no, it's not the easiest thing. Follow me at Rosie Pope for more useful information, or go to rosiepope.com. And if you have ideas for videos you want me to make, just let me know.